Good morning, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a morning for long speeches, and this wasn't meant to be a keynote, but really an opportunity for me, first and foremost, to welcome you again to another Catalyzing Conversations hosted by Endeavor Nigeria. I would like to start by making a number of important acknowledgements this year. I'm really delighted, first and foremost, that we have with us in Lagos this morning the global president of Endeavor, and we've really been extremely lucky and fortunate this year to have a blessing of very, very senior Endeavor visits to the Endeavor Nigeria community. Welcome this morning to Lagos. I know it's a whistle-stop, trip, Adrian, but very delighted to welcome the president of Endeavor Global, Adrian Garcia Arenas. We were also very fortunate a few weeks back to host Endeavor co-founder and president Linda Rottenberg, who was making her first trip to Lagos, and it was an energetic 2 days in Lagos. And certainly, Lagos hasn't forgotten Linda, and we look forward to welcoming Linda again sometime soon, to one of our events in Nigeria. Also delighted this morning, one of the things that Endeavor does very, very well is not only to work with entrepreneurs who have the ability to build these amazing companies, some of which have been mentioned, by our, hostess, Lele. But, more importantly, Endeavor has also realized that if we do all the work that we do and we do not provide capital one way or the other to these companies, that work is somewhat incomplete. And one of the most beautiful things that we've done over the last few years is to build Endeavor Catalyst. And Endeavor Catalyst is our rules-based investing vehicle, which basically allows us, on the one hand, participate to support these entrepreneurs as they grow. But more importantly, it also does something very, very significant for the ecosystem. From the gains that it makes, it supports the local offices across the world, and this is very, very important to the sustainability of our businesses on the ground. And I'm therefore delighted to welcome this morning the new head of Endeavor Catalyst in Africa, Michelle Wanjuku, who's also visiting Lagos for the first time. Thank you, Michelle. We keep looking to increase the number of Nigerians involved as investors in Endeavor Catalyst. I'm very proud to say that I was the first Nigerian to invest in Endeavor Catalyst. And since then, there have been quite a number of other Nigerian investors, who have supported us, and I hope will continue to support that wonderful work that Endeavor Catalyst does. We have a very long program this morning, but a really exciting one. And we have an opportunity to meet some of the entrepreneurs that we're really, really proud about. And I stand this morning to speak to you at an important time in the economy, at a time when many, many entrepreneurs will be, somewhat trepid about the economic conditions that we're facing. We've been through probably 7 to 8 of the most challenging years. And if you're a young person and you've never seen, the really good times, you wonder, what people mean when they say that this used to be, an incredible place to make a lot of money. It still is. I'm so delighted to see this morning one of our first directors at Endeavor Nigeria, and really one of Nigeria's, leading entrepreneurs, a man who, makes many of us proud, but I also, consider him, in many respects, one of my own mentors, Mr. Faisal El Khalil. Welcome, Faisal, and thank you for making it this morning. And just as I was saying, welcome to Faisal, I should also introduce Suresh Telarams. And Suresh, welcome, and great timing. These two families, and their entrepreneurial journey, in many, many respects, along with some other families that I see here, the Hemnanis, and Primlax, are very much a part of my own history as an individual growing up in this market, working in my own family business. And, these entrepreneurs, have built businesses that have lasted, 50, 60, 70 years and longer in this country and still continue to succeed. So if you're a young person in this room today, at the start of your journey, wondering if you should be, whether you've made the right decision and whether you're working in the right market, my simple message to you this morning is that you haven't made a mistake, and sometime, whether it's over the next 5 or 7 or 10 years, these words will come to mean so much to you. If you're African or Nigerian and you happen to be sitting in the confluence of all the events that are happening around us today, I think you should be really, really excited about what the future holds. There are a number of things that are undeniable, and one of those which I'll share with each and every one of you is that whether we like it or not, this country's demography is going to drag it kicking and screaming out of some of the current difficulties that you and I all witness. And if you're a student, and you study economic history, you will be familiar with the economic history of countries like China and India. And in the same way, this country has the same phenomenal ability to be quite transformational in terms of its population growth. And if that population growth can be partnered with two things that are really important to endeavor: entrepreneurship and innovation. Over the next decade or 2 decades, we are going to create something quite exciting here. What is not in doubt is that if you're building a business here, you will always have exciting times. And you could have gone to the best business schools in the world. Those business schools would never ever have prepared you for running a business in Nigeria. But what I will say is that notwithstanding all of the excitement, if you do succeed in building and scaling a business properly here, it will be a very, very valuable business on a global scale. And what does it take to scale? And I'd just like to leave us with 3 simple messages and 3 simple lessons. The first element that I think is really, really important is one that we don't talk about so much, which is really around governance. And how would I describe governance? People try to come up with all sorts of complicated explanations, for defining governance. And I simply define governance in some simple rules. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, then it probably isn't right. If you wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of it, then it probably is not right. Yeah? When you build a business to succeed, you will need other people's money. And that places a big responsibility and burden on you, not only to be exceptional in the way that you're accountable for it, but also in the way that you do everything possible to ensure that everyone is delivered value. The second reason why businesses will scale here is 2 C's that I always focus on. And I think these two C's are more fundamental than everything else when you invest in a business. And it's character and it's competence. The first, you can never buy and you can never train. The second, you can go to school and loads of good businesses will help you build it. Every single time that you find a founder who has that beautiful combination of character and competence, back them and back them with a lot of money, because almost certainly they will succeed. It's those two words that ensure that in very, very difficult times, you will be able to find a solution. The final reason why you'll succeed here is because you have one often underestimated, talent, which is resilience. And every single one of the businesses that you see in this country, whether they have a 50-year history or they have a 60 or 70-year history, the one thing that has kept them going throughout is an ability, to keep taking the knocks and getting up, to keep reinventing themselves where necessary and keep moving. And it's this resilience fundamentally that is in the character of each and every one of you as Nigerians. And this is why I have no doubt in my mind, right, that we will succeed as an entrepreneurial ecosystem. I'd like to thank every one of you who supports what we do in Endeavor. I'd like to start by thanking all of our Endeavor mentors who give so much of their time freely. I'd like to thank all of my colleagues on the board of Endeavor for doing something really quite remarkable. Many of you will not be aware, this is one of the few boards where, as directors, you pay for the pleasure of being a board member. Thank you all for the work that you do in supporting the Endeavor business here. Thank you to our remarkable Endeavor entrepreneurs who are paying it forward, because they're also a part of funding the sustainability of the network here. And thank you, Nigeria, for giving us an incredible canvas to play on. I wish you all a very, very good deliberations this morning. Thank you and welcome.